When it comes to algebra, the base thing that we're going to have to need to know is that y equals mx plus b. X and y are coordinates on an ordered pair, so that is to say it's x comma y. B is when x is 0, we have our b, and m equals slope, and that's going to be right here, slope of a line. All right, now as long as you can model y equals mx plus b, and x and y don't have any like numbers specifically, but m and b, those are my constants. Those are the things with constant numbers that define the identity of this function, what it looks like, the behavior, how it moves, where it intersects the y-axis, all those types of things. Now, if we can turn most equations into this y equals mx plus b, then we can solve most linear equations because we'll be able to plug it in, look at its behavior, answer the questions based on its behavior, plug in different features where x equals some different variety of numbers. So for example, all right, let's say you had f of x equals 12x minus 6 and g of x equals negative 4x plus 2. I can see that they intersect at 0.50 or 0.85, 4.5. That's the solution. All right, so if you're ever looking for where these things are equal or where they happen to be the same, that's how we solve systems of linear equations. It's also if you can turn any problem, word problem, into an equation. Typically, you may start with, if I'm talking about bananas and oranges, I may start with O and B, but in that case, I would switch it out for x and y when I'm graphing it on my Desmos graphing calculator. So that's mostly how you solve algebra problems. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some examples real quick. Ken's working part of his summer crew on a farm. He earns $8 per hour for 10 hours. So I know that one variable is h, which is my hours. He saves 90% of his earnings. So earnings is another variable from each week. What is the least number of hours he must work the rest of the week to save at least 270 for the week? So we could say that I want my earnings to equal, it's 0.9 is what he saves, times whatever this equation is. Well, I know it's probably going to be something like 10x or 10h, but I don't know what my b is. So the way that I find my b is I would say, all right, well, he earns $8 per hour in one instance. So he earns $8 per hour. So what if he worked 10 hours at that job? He would make $80. But I know that I probably want to fit it into the y equals mx plus b formula, where m is 10. So it's y equals 10x plus b. If I were to plug that in, I would know that 80 should equal 10 times 10 plus b. That gives me 80 equals 100 plus b, and b equals negative 20. All right, so this equation in here is that b equals 10h minus 20. Then I can plug in 270 for e, because they tell me that it's 270 per week. I'm just matching everything up, times 0.9. They want to know the number of hours, so that's unknown, minus 20. And then I would just use order of operations to divide both sides by 0.9. I could do that into Desmos. 270 divided by 0.9 is 300, equals 10h minus 20. So I'll add 20 to both sides. That gives me 320 equals 10h, and finally 32 equals h. And so the least number of hours from our selection is going to be b. That's how we use modeling to help us with this type of problem.